Hello and welcome to Multimedia Fusion 2.5. This is Parallax Interactive Tutorials, and today we're going to be doing a counter-to-counter transfer using two counters to create an ammo reload function which can be used for guns and other weapons used in shooting games. So let's get into it. What we're going to need is two counters, so double click on the frame, create new object, be the counter, type in counter to find it. Gonna need two of them, so get two onto the screen. So now we got our two counters. We're now gonna need to go into the events editor by pressing Ctrl and E. Once we're in the events editor, we're gonna need to right click on new condition and find where it shows the storybook controls, checkerboard on the horse. Right click and find start frame at the top. Now we got our start frame. Gonna need to find our counter 2, which should be the last one. It says counter 2. Right click and go down to where it says set counter. So when it says set counter, click on that, and depending on how much ammo you want in your reload thing, so just type in, I'm going to say 48. That's how much is going to be in the secondary clip. So I got 48. We're now going to need to create a new condition which will be used to reload. So the keyboard and mouse. Upon pressing a key, and we'll say R because that's the standard reload function in any game. So now that we've done that, we're going to need a special condition. So we're going to need to find fast loops and start loop. Click on that. In between the two markers here, we'll type in something like reload as a naming convention. You can type in what you want, but reload's a good naming convention for this. And click OK. Then you want to reload as many times as you want it to reload. So if we say 12, if you want to reload 12 times, so 12 goes into the first clip, your primary ammo. So we'll do start loop reloads 12 times. Now going to do an on loop function. So right click on new condition, special, and go right down to the bottom, on loop. So in between the markers again, we're going to use our name convention which we used earlier, which is reload, and OK. So on loop reload. We're going to need to right click on that and insert. We got mode to add to this. Going to need our counter and go down to compare the counter to a value. This is counter 1, by the way. So we're going to need to choose comparison method being lower. So it's going to be lower than what you had, being 30, which we just did just now, and press OK. Going to need a new one again, so insert, this time counter 2. So same again. To get to this, we're going to now do, instead of lower, we're going to do greater, and greater than 0. So now that we got there, we're going to need to add 1 to the first counter, so it's going to add from the second counter. So add 1, find this by right clicking and going down to add the counter under set counter 1, and subtract from counter for counter 2. So subtract from counter and 1. That's under add the counter. So now that we got that, we'll add in a file. So just the counter decreases and increases from one to the other. So we'll do new condition, mouse and keyboard again, keyboard upon pressing a key. I'm going to say spacebar because that's the usual fire key. And we'll do subtract 1. So subtract 1 from counter. So this will subtract it now. We then, after this, need insert and our first counter being compared to a value being greater than 0. So click OK, and that's it. You should be all done. So now that we got that in, we'll test and run it. Bring that over. So if we click R now, yes, it reloads, as you can see, to the other one. So if you press spacebar, it will fire, and it reloads. It'll only reload up to 30, as we did put in 30 for it to reload up to. So if we just go back to that, you'll just notice it just reloads until it gets up to 30, but it will reload 12 each time. When you press spacebar, it will decrease some and then it will add back and make it back to the 30. So this has been a reload function. Hope this tutorial has helped. This has been Parallax Interactive Tutorials, and check back soon for more tutorials on how to use Multimedia Fusion 2.5 to create games. Thank you.